I've put up the colours I've mixed from the mixtures and the subject, so you can see them together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the orange that I've mixed.
Gosh, that's
Ignore
a brighter
those
orange.
two.
Yes, that's a brighter orange than I've got, I must say.
Well, it's alizarin added to aureolin.
Yeah, which I've done, yes.
I mean, you can add a bit more. You can add a bit more aureolin, or you can leave it where it is. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, okay, right.
I tried to match what I had on my colour wheel, and
yes.
that's my Prussian blue, which I made. It's easy to add to because it's not a mixture.
Yeah.
Sally and all the rest of the group did colour wheels, Carol, last year, like this.
Oh, right.
And one is a cool colour wheel and one is a warm colour wheel. So this is the one we're dealing with today. Last week we were using, the warm vermilion and the warm gamboge. This week we're using the cool aureolin, the cool alizarin, and the Prussian blue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's very good. No,
yeah?
It's very nice. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
If you want to go ahead and make the mixtures, and you're quick and you've done your big amounts of colour, then these are what I've mixed. But you don't have to do exactly the same as me. But as long as you use the discipline of only using the big main mixtures for these subsidiary mixtures, and you don't introduce anything else.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. And did you measure out those mixtures in 1, 2, 3, and 4 like last week?
Well, I didn't go into calling them brush loads. I just said in the first one, it's a tiny amount of Prussian blue added to that orange, gives you that browny beige. Yes. This one, there's slightly more Prussian blue, so you get sort of something that's a bit like an olive green.
Yes.
And then this one, which is more equal amounts of the orange and the blue, you get something that's like khaki green.
Yes. Yeah.
And then this one, where there's very little orange to the blue, you get a lovely bluey green.
Yes.
Yes. Have a spare piece of paper and paint them onto the paper like I've done. Let them dry, because until they're dry, you can't really judge how light or dark they actually are.
That's true. Yes.
And it's also quite good I think it's useful to have written down what went in that mixture. Just a little. You've got a record then of the colours, the main colours. But there is nothing to stop you in the course of painting to dilute these if you want to and make further colours from these colours here. Or you can even dilute the straightforward alizarin and aureolin if you want to, providing you've got another space on your palette where you can put those subsidiary mixtures. All I'm saying is those are your 6 main colours, and you can use weaker versions of them or just have them at full strength, whatever seems most appropriate. And I think starting off with them strong gives you that facility to reduce them and make weaker washes or paler washes, bearing in mind that you can't add white to these colours. Lucy mentioned I should show you this again, my one that I did last week. I'm just going to zoom out a bit. I'm just to reiterate, I only used, what is that? I only used the green, that first green, and this one, and then the 4 subsidiary mixtures. And I did dilute some of these and the main ones in the course of doing this painting. That's how I got these very soft, light washes. So this color here is just a light, very pale wash of the vermilion and gamboge main color. So, you can, use paler versions, but the beauty of the discipline, which is of this particular exercise, is that once you've got your colors there on your palette, you don't have to start thinking about the possibilities of using any of the other of the warm colors. You don't need to think about any more about color mixing. You just work with what you've got. And the point of it was that you make those colors show the lights and darks by overlaying them. So, you know, I overlaid my secondary, or these mixtures, I overlaid them onto the green and in some cases onto the orange to create all these other colors. So that's, you know, it enabled me to do the whole subject just in that way, you know, just by building up the tones, you know, by layering things over the top of each other. Yes. And I think what it gave me was a sort of harmonious piece of work. Okay. It just, I think often when we move into color, we stop looking at form, and the whole purpose of this exercise was to make you look at the forms, decide where the lights and darks are falling on them. And, you know, I've got a lot of natural daylight in here this afternoon, but I can still see that one side of my pumpkins is lighter than the other because of the light coming through from behind or from the window. So, you know, have a good look before you start. The first square underneath the orange, what I did was I put some of this orange into here, and I added a very tiny amount of the Prussian blue to it, and it gave me that nice beige colour. So the four subsidiary mixtures is that one, that one, that one, and this one here.
Sorry, that was too fast.
Right, so the first one is I took some of the orange and put it in here.
Yeah.
And then I added the tiniest bit of blue to it and mixed it round. So if I mix it round here on the palette, you can see what it looks like. You can see it on the palette there. And I'm obviously going to need to mix some more because that won't last me very long. So I'll do it again. So I took some of the orange and put it down in this well.
Yes.
Quite a bit. Then I washed my brush, dried it, and then I dipped just the tip of it into the blue and added the blue to it, and you get this beigey mixture. In fact, I'm going to add more orange to it because that's now gone to, that blue is so strong, it's affected it more than I wanted it to. So I'm adding a bit more orange to it so that I know I'll have a sort of beigey brown there. Can you see that?
Yes, mine's gone very grey.
Pardon?
It's gone a greeny grey.
The next stage is to look at your subject and just bring to mind, well, just look, as you're looking at it, consider, I mean, if it's easy, you can half close your eyes because that also helps to simplify it. Look where the darks and the lights are on that whole composition. And then I would start with your lightest shade. In my case, I don't know, Lucy, I don't know if it's possible to spotlight my subject again. Yeah, in my case, it's this little small pumpkin in the foreground. Now, I've obviously got a plate which has got a rim, and then I've got a little bit of foreground here, which I might include. So I'm not going to put this right at the bottom of my page. I'm going to set it further back. I have actually done my piece of paper in, no, you can't see it. It's in a portrait format rather than landscape format, because I'm going to include a bit of what I can see through the window as well. I can see a bit of the path, a little chair and some bushes. I'm going to include what I can see through the window. I'm going to put a little bit of this shelf and a bit of the window in as well. So I'm not just going to focus on the pumpkins, but I think what you choose to do shouldn't be determined by what I'm doing. It should be what your response to your own subject is. Okay, but start with the lightest shape and paint it in lightly in a light wash. Don't try and build it up too quickly. I would then maybe paint, then let it dry a bit. And then if you can, I think you may have to use your hairdryer at the same time. Don't dry it completely, but get it to a point where it's sort of not totally wet, and you can start to drop in your stronger mixture of the same color, I would suggest. So I might use, if I was going to do that one, I might use this beige, make up a dilute mixture of it, and maybe use the stronger mixture for the darker tones. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think the danger of moving on to another shape is that will dry completely, and then you've got to redampen areas to get the second colors in, or second or third color in. Okay, so it is useful to have a hairdryer handy if you've got one. Okay, Chris, we're now going to go on to the second color. The second color, which is this one next to the honey color, this one here. Now that's got a little bit more blue in it, so it is a kind of, it looks here on the palette like a khaki green. When I paint it on there, when it dried, it kind of came out like that.
How did you get there?
I started by putting orange into here, the initial orange, and then I added some blue to it. So I took this is my main orange, okay?
Yes.
Took some of my orange, put it in here, washed my brush, dipped it into the blue, took a little bit more blue this time, added to it, and then there we are, I've got that. Then I've got that green, and that's what I've got there.
Yeah.
And then I've made a note of these colors, Chris, on the same sheet, so that I've got them here. So those first two colors that we've just done is that beige and this one here, and I've wrote on the first one tiny amount of Prussian blue, and then the next one I wrote more Prussian blue, and then the third and the fourth will be greater amounts of Prussian blue, so I have to arrive at those two colors. But they're all modifications of this original orange, just with the addition of blue. Yes. Right, can you see Carol, the very dark bit in the middle, is that your original mixture, or is that with a little bit of blue in it?
It's still watered down. It's
all watered down beige, isn't it?
It's all watered down beige, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So her very palest one is a really dilute mixture of the beige. And then she's got, I can see at least 2 or 3 other tones there.
Yes, and that's all from the first colour.
Yes.
Yeah, you start with the palest and you build up.
Yeah.
And the only way you can build it up is by allowing each layer to go so it's not totally dry, but
Sorry. I have added in some of the second tone.
I see. Yeah, the one with more Prussian blue in it.
Yes, just
okay.
Yes,
that's
just
fine.
A tiny bit of that. Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Fine. So, okay, thank you, Carol. If you look, so I think what Carol was saying is she's used some dilute mixtures of this first color, and then to get her darker tone, she's used this one over the top of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Do you remember to use more than one brush, you know, as and when you need to?